Good morning, I'm Samriddhi K.C. and these are the headlines of the hour. U.S. President Donald Trump orders halt to all foreign aid including Nepal's programs. U.S. partners informed to suspend aid, loans and support following executive order. Victims of loan sharks continue to protest on delayed agreements. Investigation commission created by the government remains inactive. U.S. President Donald Trump announces retaliatory 25% tariffs to Colombia. Moves comes amid Colombian president blocks U.S. military deportation flights from landing. And Barcelona returns to winning ways at home in La Liga with a dominant 7-1 win against Valencia, narrows gap with Atletico to 3 points. Welcome back. Following Donald Trump's inauguration, the United States temporarily halted foreign aid, sparking a global response. After a 3-month review, the U.S. government will decide whether to continue or suspend the subsidies. In 2023, the U.S. allocated $72 billion for foreign aid, and this decision is expected to impact health, education, and development projects globally that rely on American support. Now, the question is how many projects are currently operating in Nepal and what impact will the U.S. announcement have on the country?
The largest support to Nepal's health sector, with 7 billion rupees being spent both through budgetary and non-budgetary means. Most of this funding is directed towards projects focused on children's nutrition security. Officials from the Ministry of Health have noted that the U.S. is assisting with health infrastructure in rural areas, including training health workers and providing medical supplies.
सबभन्दा कठिनाइ चाहिँ दिगो विकास लक्ष्य प्राप्तिमा हो। त्यसका अधिकांश सूचकहरुमा हामीले काम गरिरहँदा त्यहाँ वैदेशिक सहायताको सघन उपस्थिति छ। हामीले 2030 सम्ममा एजेन्डा 2030 2030 सम्ममा दिगो विकास लक्ष्य हासिल गर्ने कुरामा चाहिँ वैदेशिक सहायताको प्राप्ति पनि कम हुँदै जाने, हाम्रो आन्तरिक राजस्व पनि कम हुँदै जाने।
Currently, with U.S. assistance, the MCC project, worth over 100 billion rupees, is underway, focusing on upgrading power transmission lines and roads. This project aims to connect around 4,000 megawatts of electricity from 132 hydropower projects to the national grid. The U.S. is also supporting the construction of transmission lines to enable the export of electricity from Nepal to South Asian countries, including India.
संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका भनेको चाहिँ अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सहायता द्विपक्षीय रूपमा अरु मुलुकलाई दिने मात्रै होइन कि विश्वका ठूला बहुराष्ट्रिय संस्थाहरू जस्तै विश्व बैंक, एसियाली विकास बैंक र सहायता प्रदान गर्ने विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन, विश्व खाद्य संगठन लगायत संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघका धेरै निकायहरू मार्फत पनि उसको पैसा चाहिँ आउँछ। त्यसपछिको अर्को एउटा ठूलो सहायता भनेको मिलेनियम च्यालेन्ज कर्पोरेसन अन्तर्गत नेपालको प्रसारण लाइन निर्माण गर्नको निमित्त र एउटा सडक निर्माण गर्नको निमित्त छ। त्यो चाहिँ निर्माणको ठेक्का लागेर ठेकेदारले काम गरिरहेछन्।
To promote the use of technology, a 40-kilometer road is being constructed between Dhankhola and Lami along the east-west highway. In addition, the United States has supported the transformation of agriculture through mechanization. Recently, under the Kisan 2 project, 2,700 farmers in the Tarai region were provided with shallow tube wells. The U.S. funded Nepal's seed and fertilizer project with an investment of $20 million, also assisted Nepal's private sector in seed production. From Kantipur to Bara, training was provided on corn planting as well. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, the U.S. invests over 1 billion rupees annually in Nepal's agricultural sector. Similarly, after the 2015 earthquake, the United States granted zero customs duty on goods produced in Nepal. As Nepal transitions from an underdeveloped country to a developing one, there is still a significant need for American assistance. However, Donald Trump's decision to halt current foreign aid has raised confusion about the future of these aid programs.
The government has claimed of addressing loan sharks issues through a commission formed 2 years ago. However, the problem persists. Victims of the loan sharks plan to launch a struggle campaign named as Janajagaran Abhiyan from Janakpur today. Facing high interest rates and loan defaults, they are against protesting moneylenders seizing their property.
Government formed a commission led by former chair of Special Court Gauri Bahadur Karki in March 2023 to address complaints of exploitation by loan sharks. While the government claims to have reconciled many cases, returned properties to victims, and punished those charging excessive interest, victims argue justice has not been served. They are launching a campaign named Jana Jagaran from tomorrow in Janakpur against economic exploitation and plans to march to Kathmandu on foot to pile the pressure. Despite 3 rounds of negotiations with the government, they claim unresolved issues have forced them to protest again.
पीडितहरुको पक्षमा उभिएर चाहिँ जन पीडितहरुले चाहिँ पीडा दिने काम गर्यो र यो राज्यलाई जानकारी दिइरहेका छौं कि जबसम्म हाम्रो सहमति अनुसार हाम्रो पूर्ण रूपले पीडितको समस्याको समाधान हुँदैन कारण हुँदैन तबसम्म चाहिँ हामी रुक्नेवाला छैनौं.
Victims allege that despite law against loan sharks being passed, the implementation is delayed. Out of 60,000 petitions filed nationwide, less than 10% have been resolved. They accuse that government is further victimizing them instead of delivering justice.
8 लाख रुपया उसँग लिए अनि 1 बिघा जग्गा उले पास गर्दिए. यो जग्गा फिर्ता गर्दिन्छु भनेर शर्तनामा कागज पनि लेखेछ, मसँग सबुत छ. उलाई पटक पटक गरेर 5,75,000 रुपया पैसा दिए अनि त्यो जग्गा अब फिर्ता माग्न जादा त्यो फिर्ता दिइरहेछ छैन.
70,000 रुपया ले नै रे 70,000 के काट लेलक, हमरा पूरा जमीन ल लेलक आ नै फिर्ता कैलक.
जमीन केने डाकिलाम बोलेल केने कथु बोलेल के आ जाके जमीन कथि केल के बेटी नाम से क देलक आ बेटी नाम से के कैलक बेच के से दोसर गोरा के देने ही के अथि गंगाराम मंडल ही के कानून तेकरा नाम पर क देलकै आ उ जमीन हमर बेच के घर बैठ रहल आ याब कथि कहे से.
The Investigation Commission for Victims of Loan Sharks is currently inactive, while the district committee, headed by the Assistant Chief District Officer, claims to have resolved complaints through mutual agreements. Victims allege that the perpetrators have been granted immunity.
The mayor of Lalitpur Metropolitan City, Chiri Babu Maharjan, has announced that the traffic lights in the city will now operate continuously, ensuring they remain functional every day. Lalitpur Metropolitan City Mayor, while inaugurating a weekly traffic awareness program in Jaulakhel yesterday, emphasized that vehicles must follow traffic lights even during the movement of high-ranking officials. He warned that drivers violating the traffic rules will face penalties. The weekly traffic awareness program, launched in coordination with the Traffic Police Office, aims to promote public awareness about road safety and adherence to traffic rules. The Metropolis plans to install intelligent traffic lights next year along key routes including Pulchok to Gwarko via Mangal Bazar, Jaulakhel to Harishiddi via Lagankhel, and Jaulakhel to Ekantakuna Bhaishipati to Bungamati. Mayor Maharjan added that Lalitpur is progressing towards becoming a smart city. Welcome back. Minister of Finance Bishnu Paudel has stated that it is possible to attain this year's revenue target if the leakage at the administration could be controlled. Paudel instructed the tax officials to carry out the works with efficiency and honesty. Addressing a program organized by the Department of Customs on the occasion of International Customs Day, he urged for the collaboration among private sector, tax administration and security mechanism. Paudel added that the revenue collection has been affected due to the policies adopted by the government and the stagnation seen in the economy at the latest times. However, he ensured that the government is motivated towards changing the scenario and developing an investment-friendly environment to boost the tax collection. Meanwhile, private sector have suggested government to focus on easing the scenario of international trade as well. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a 25% tariff on all goods imported from Colombia. After Colombia turned back 2 U.S. military ships carrying migrants, President Trump announced a 25% tariff on all goods imported from Colombia and a visa ban on government officials. Trump said that a 25% tariff on all goods will increase to 50% over a week. In response, Colombian President Gustavo Petro has announced a 25% tariff on U.S. imports. Petro earlier said that he had denied entry to U.S. military deportation flights. He said they would receive their fellow citizens on civilian planes without treating them like criminals, and migrants must be returned with dignity and respect. In response, Trump announced immediate and decisive retaliatory measures through the social network Truth Social, announcing a travel ban on Colombian government officials, aides and supporters, and the immediate revocation of their visas. These measures are just the beginning, Trump added, saying his administration would not allow the Colombian government to violate its legal obligations with regard to the acceptance and return of the criminals they forced into the United States. Petro said more than 15,666 Americans were in Colombia illegally, adding that unlike the Trump administration, he would never be seen carrying out a raid to return illegal U.S. migrants. The U.S. states imports 20% of its coffee from Colombia and also imports around $2 billion worth of bananas, crude oil, avocados, and flowers. Tens of thousands of people are fleeing towns in a Democratic Republic of Congo's east as rebel forces close in on the city of Goma. As per the reports, explosions and gunshots were heard in the city, home to more than 1 million people, late on Sunday evening. A spokesman for rebel group has told that its forces will seize control of Goma at 3 local time 100 GMT. This comes hours after the Congo's foreign minister accused Rwanda of declaring war by sending its troops over the border to support the M23 rebels. Rwanda says Kinshasa supports militias who want regime change in Kigali. Kenya has called for a ceasefire and announced that the presidents of both the Dr. Congo and Rwanda will attend an emergency regional summit in the next 2 days. Meanwhile, on the ground, M23 rebels have called on Congolese troops in Goma to surrender in order to avoid bloodshed. The group has taken control of vast parts of mineral-rich eastern Congo since 2021. In the past few weeks, the group has been advancing swiftly on Goma amid intense fighting. According to the UN's Refugee Agency, since the start of 2025, more than 400,000 people have been displaced in North and South Kivu provinces near the border with Rwanda. Key roads surrounding Goma are blocked and the city's airport can no longer be used for evacuation and humanitarian efforts, the UN has said. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on Rwanda to withdraw its forces from the Congo's territory and on the M23 rebel group to stop its advance on Goma. This comes after 13 soldiers serving with peacekeeping forces were killed in the clashes with the rebels. Over 1,000 migrants, including several Venezuelans, embarked on a journey from the southern Mexican town of Tapachula towards the United States on Sunday, even after several had their appointments to seek asylum cancelled following the inauguration of Donald Trump. Migrant Carlos Cabrillo stated that he and his family had lost their plane tickets and permits granting free transit after their appointment was cancelled, leaving them with no choice but to undertake the journey by foot. The U.S. president declared illegal immigration a national emergency and imposed a sweeping crackdown since taking office on 20th of January. He directed the U.S. military to help with border security, issued a broad ban on asylum, and took steps to restrict citizenship for children born on the U.S. soil. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni met with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Al Salman, at the UNESCO World Heritage Archaeological Site of Al Ula. The bilateral meet was the part of the 3-day mission of the Italian Prime Minister to the Persian Gulf countries, which began on Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and will end on today in Bahrain. The topics on the agenda included the reconstruction of Syria after the civil war and Italy's commitment to support the ceasefire in Lebanon. Meloni and bin Salman also talked about energetic transition and common initiatives to promote sustainable progress in Africa, including the development of the data centers. The meeting was followed by a signing of joint declarations establishing a strategic partnership between Italy and Saudi Arabia. The Italian leader said that the total value of these agreements signed today and during this visit is about $10 billion. Today, Meloni will travel to Bahrain, the first visit by an Italian Prime Minister to Gulf country, where she will hold bilateral talks with King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. The families of the Israeli hostages freed over the weekend thank U.S. President Donald Trump for the release of their daughters from Gaza. The families delivered statements from the hospital where they are staying with the released hostages. The 4 soldiers, Karina Ariev, Daniela Gilboa, Nama Levy and Diri Albag, were released by Hamas in Gaza on 25th of January. The young women had all been stationed at an observation post on the edge of Gaza when Hamas fighters overran their base and abducted them during the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that precipitated the war. Their release in exchange for the freeing of 200 Palestinian prisoners was part of a truce worked out after months off and on negotiations brokered by Qatar and Egypt and backed by United States, and has halted the fighting for the first time in more than a year. Following Saturday's release, 90 hostages remain in Gaza according to Israeli authorities, who have declared around a third of them dead in absentia. 26 are still slated for the release in first phase, after which the sides are expected to negotiate the exchange of the rest, including men of military age and withdrawal of Israeli forces. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.